For 30 years, Johnny Carson controlled late-night television like a king. From October 1, 1962, to May 22, 1992, 17 million people watched him every single night. He made $25 million annually by 1991, that's $54 million in today's money. NBC banked $60 million yearly just from his show. But Carson wasn't just entertainment. He was the gatekeeper. Behind the curtain at Studio One in Burbank, Carson kept a list. A banned list. Some guests were too dangerous, too manipulative, too evil. They lied to millions. They threatened him backstage. They used his platform to spread poison. And when Carson discovered the truth, he did something late-night hosts today would never dare. He called them out. He exposed them. He ended their careers on live television. In 1991, Wayne Newton cornered Carson in his NBC office and shoved him against the wall. In 1973, Uri Geller tried to con 17 million viewers with psychic fraud until Carson crushed him with science. Bob Hope comedy royalty became the guest Carson secretly despised, calling him a narcissistic nightmare behind closed doors. Joan Rivers, his protege, betrayed him for Fox money, and Carson never spoke to her again for 19 years. And when a Vegas mobster's girlfriend caught Carson's drunken attention in 1972, the mafia put a contract on his life. These weren't publicity stunts. They were real dangers, real deceptions, real betrayals. And Carson, the man who joked his way through everything on camera, became something else when the red light went dark: an investigator, a protector of his audience, a man who refused to let evil hide behind a smile. Now, decades after his death in 2005, we're uncovering what happened when Johnny Carson exposed 5 guests who proved too evil for television. John William Carson was born on October 23, 1925, in Corning, Iowa, the middle child of 3. His father, Homer Lloyd Kit Carson, managed the Iowa-Nebraska Light and Power Company, earning enough to keep the family fed but not comfortable. His mother, Ruth Hook Carson, was a homemaker who didn't like boys because they were dirty. Later, Carson would call her Lady Macbeth, and the toughest son of a bitch of them all. He blamed her for his failed marriages, for his emotional distance, for the coldness that everyone mistook for shyness. The family moved constantly. From Corning to Avoca, Avoca to Clarinda, Clarinda to Red Oak. Finally, when Johnny turned 8 in 1933, they settled in Norfolk, Nebraska. It was the Depression. His father worked 60-hour weeks. His mother ruled the house with silence and judgment. Johnny learned early, you survive by being invisible. At age 12, he found a book on magic at a friend's house. He ordered a magician's kit through the mail. Cost him a week's allowance. He practiced card tricks for hours in his bedroom. He didn't talk much. Didn't play sports. Just practiced magic. By 14, he was performing at local events as the Great Carsoni. He charged $3 per show. People noticed something unusual. The kid was funny. Not just skilled with sleight-of-hand funny. He cracked jokes between tricks. Made audiences laugh at themselves. But the magic wasn't about entertainment. It was control. When you perform magic, you control what people see, what they believe, what they think happened. That skill controlling perception would become Carson's greatest weapon. And decades later, when frauds and phonies tried to con his audience, Carson used that same magician's training to expose them. At 17, Carson graduated high school in 1943 and enlisted in the U.S. Navy during World War II. He served on the USS Pennsylvania as a communications officer. The war ended before he saw combat. He enrolled at the University of Nebraska in 1947, majoring in radio and speech. He wrote his thesis on comedy. Graduated in 1949. That same year, he married his college girlfriend, Jody Walcott. He was 23. She was 21. They moved to Omaha. Carson got a job at WOW Radio for $42.50 per week. The marriage started falling apart immediately. Jody wanted a normal husband. Carson wanted to be famous. By 1951, Carson moved to Los Angeles alone, working at KNXT-TV. Jody followed with their infant son, Christopher. Carson barely noticed them. He worked 16-hour days. He hosted a morning show called Carson Cellar for $50 per week. The show had no budget. No writers. Just Carson and a camera. Red Skelton saw it. Fred Allen saw it. They told people, "Watch this kid." In 1954, CBS gave Carson his own show, The Johnny Carson Show. Primetime variety. National audience. It failed. Cancelled after 39 weeks. The critics said Carson was too stiff and lacked warmth. They were right. Behind the cameras, Carson was drinking, fighting with Jody, missing his son's birthdays. Jody retaliated by flirting with other men at parties, driving Carson into rages. When he drank, he became violent. Jody called him a demon. He called her worse. But Carson didn't quit. He moved to New York in 1957 and started writing for The Red Skelton Show. One day, Skelton injured himself an hour before airtime. The producers panicked. Carson walked on stage cold. No rehearsal. No script. He killed. CBS offered him Who Do You Trust?, a game show that ran 5 days per week. Carson hosted it for 5 years. He learned to interview, to improvate, to read people. Ed McMahon became his announcer. They developed chemistry. Carson grew confident, relaxed, dangerous. By 1962, Jack Paar quit The Tonight Show on NBC. The network needed a replacement. Carson was 36 years old. NBC offered him the job. He demanded creative control, final say on guests, editorial power over content. NBC agreed. On October 1, 1962, Carson walked onto Stage 1 in Burbank. 17 million people watched. The reign had begun. And with that power came responsibility, to protect his audience from liars, frauds, and evil disguised as entertainment. From 1962 to 1972, Carson transformed The Tonight Show into the most powerful platform in entertainment. He didn't just host, he crowned careers. An appearance on Carson's couch could turn an unknown comedian into a millionaire. A bad performance could end someone forever. Carson became the kingmaker. His salary in 1970 was $2 million annually, making him the highest-paid TV entertainer in history. By 1980, he earned $5 million. By 1991, $25 million. NBC didn't care. The show generated $60 million in profit yearly. Carson's ratings were bulletproof. 17 million viewers every single night. That's more than modern cable news networks combined. But Carson demanded control. He cut The Tonight Show from 90 minutes to 60 minutes in 1980. He reduced his workweek from 5 nights to 4 nights in 1980, then 3 nights in 1991. NBC begged him to stay full-time. He refused. He had leverage. Without Carson, NBC lost billions. Behind the scenes, Carson's life crumbled. His first marriage to Jody ended in 1963 after 14 years. She received $7,500 yearly in child support and $15,000 in alimony. He married Joanne Copeland in 1963. That marriage lasted 9 years. Divorce in 1972. She got $75,000 annually. He married Joanna Holland in 1972. Divorced in 1985. That one cost him $20 million, one of the most expensive divorces in Hollywood history. She demanded $220,000 monthly. Settled for $35,000 monthly for 64 months. Carson's drinking worsened. New biographies reveal he became a red-hot demon when drunk. He had blackouts. Violent outbursts. His second wife, Joanne Copeland, recalled him throwing furniture after nights out. He'd say, "I'm going to kill you," she told biographers. I believed him. Carson later admitted, "I don't handle alcohol well at all. Really don't." In 1972, Carson's drinking nearly got him killed. He stumbled into Jilly's nightclub in Manhattan, Frank Sinatra's favorite bar. Carson started hitting on a woman at the bar. Drunk. Aggressive. Inappropriate. The woman was the girlfriend of a Colombo crime family member. The mobster reported it. The mafia put a contract out on Carson. Joe Colombo himself intervened. Frank Sinatra begged them to spare Carson. They called it off. Carson never knew how close he came. But on camera, Carson remained perfect. Professional. Untouchable. He interviewed presidents, musicians, actors, scientists. He made them comfortable, made them funny, made them human. Audiences trusted him, believed him, saw him as a friend. That trust became Carson's power. And when guests abused that trust when they lied, manipulated, or deceived his audience, Carson destroyed them. By the mid-1970s, The Tonight Show became the most profitable program on television. NBC made $50 to $60 million annually. Carson won 6 Primetime Emmy Awards. He received the Television Academy's 1980 Governor's Award, a 1985 Peabody Award. He was untouchable. In 1969, Carson hosted the wedding of Tiny Tim and Miss Vicky live on The Tonight Show. 45 million people watched the most-watched late-night episode in history. Carson didn't just host television. He created cultural moments. But behind the success, Carson isolated. He distrusted everyone. Dick Cavett, a fellow comedian and friend, said, "I felt sorry for Johnny in that he was so socially uncomfortable." Carson couldn't relax at parties. Couldn't make small talk. He was intensely shy off camera. Paranoid about betrayal. He surrounded himself with yes-men. Fired producers who disagreed with him. Banned guests for minor slights. In 1980, Carson reduced his workload from 5 nights to 4 nights weekly. NBC panicked. Carson shrugged. He had power. He knew NBC couldn't replace him. Advertisers paid millions for 30-second spots during his show. Losing Carson meant losing billions. His third marriage to Joanna Holland fell apart. She accused him of workaholism, emotional unavailability. He accused her of spending his money. Their divorce in 1985 made headlines. She demanded $220,000 monthly. Carson called it a bald-faced holdup. She settled for $35,000 monthly for 64 months, $2.24 million total. Plus assets. Plus property. Total cost, over $20 million. Then, in 1991, tragedy struck. On June 21st, Carson's middle son, Richard Walcott Carson, died in a car accident. Richard, 39, was photographing California's Central Coast near Cayucas when his 4-wheel-drive vehicle tumbled down an embankment. He wasn't wearing a seatbelt. He was ejected and died instantly. Carson delivered the eulogy at Richard's funeral in July 1991. He cried openly. Told mourners, Rick was a photographer. He saw beauty everywhere. Colleagues said Carson never recovered. He blamed himself. When Ricky died, you could see the depth of love Johnny had for him, a friend recalled. He lamented the fact that he hadn't been a better father. Carson cut his workload further. 3 nights per week. He withdrew emotionally. But he still showed up. Still performed. Still protected his audience. And when evil sat across from him on that couch, Carson became judge, jury, and executioner. In 1973, Uri Geller was the most famous psychic in the world. The Israeli mentalist claimed he could bend spoons with his mind. Stop watches telepathically. Read thoughts. Scientists at Stanford Research Institute tested him. The CIA investigated his abilities for their Stargate program. Millions believed. NBC booked Geller for The Tonight Show on August 1, 1973. 17 million people would watch. But Carson, a trained magician, smelled a con. He consulted James Randi, a professional magician and fraud investigator. Randi explained how Geller's tricks worked. He pre-bent spoons backstage. He used Confederates to plant information. He manipulated conditions. Carson planned an ambush. He told his producers, provide the spoons. No substitutions. Uri doesn't touch anything until the cameras roll. Geller arrived confident. Cocky. He sat down. Carson brought out a tray of spoons. Geller's face changed. Carson smiled. These are our spoons, Uri. We just bought them. Try bending one. Geller picked up a spoon. Rubbed it. Concentrated. Nothing. He tried another. Nothing. 17 million people watched him fail. Live. on national television. "This scares me," Geller admitted. "I don't feel strong tonight." Carson pressed, "Can you read my mind? Tell me what I'm thinking right now." Geller stammered, deflected, failed. The segment lasted 20 minutes. It became legendary. Skeptics called it the greatest debunking in television history. But here's the twist: Geller's career didn't end. It exploded. People sympathized with him. "Poor Yuri," they said. "Johnny was mean." Geller turned victimhood into millions. He later said that Johnny Carson's show made Uri Geller. Carson never apologized. He knew the truth. Geller was a fraud. And Carson exposed him to 17 million people. That was justice. To audiences, Bob Hope was comedy royalty. The USO performer who entertained troops for decades. The Hollywood legend. NBC loved him. Carson's bosses demanded Hope appear regularly. But Carson hated him. Behind the scenes, Hope was insufferable. He arrived with scripted jokes written by a team of writers. He refused spontaneous conversation. He plugged his TV specials relentlessly. He treated The Tonight Show like a shopping network. Carson called hosting Hope like entertaining an elderly relative you're forced to tolerate at Thanksgiving. Carson's biographer revealed, the coolness between them was a reflection of their rivalry. Carson was the only star at NBC who could challenge Hope's power. Hope had hosted the Oscars 14 times. His NBC specials drew massive ratings. He resented Carson's dominance. During Hope's appearances, Carson performed professionally on camera. But backstage, producers saw fury in Johnny's eyes. After one particularly tone-deaf Hope appearance in the late 1980s, Carson told his producers, "Never again. I don't care what the network says." Hope kept appearing. NBC booked him without Carson's approval. Carson retaliated by undermining Hope on air. Subtle jabs. Pointed questions. Hope never noticed. The audience did. The feud revealed something darker about old Hollywood, narcissism disguised as patriotism. Hope used his military service as a shield. Carson saw through it. He recognized Hope's appearances for what they were, shameless self-promotion. Carson once told friends, Bob Hope wouldn't cross the street to help you unless a camera was rolling. In 1980, NBC News ran an investigative report claiming Wayne Newton, the Vegas superstar, had ties to organized crime. The report alleged Newton borrowed money from mob-connected financiers to buy the Aladdin Hotel. Carson, hosting The Tonight Show on NBC, started making jokes. Mob jokes. Newton jokes. The audience laughed. Newton wasn't laughing. On a random Tuesday in 1980, Newton walked unannounced into Carson's NBC office in Burbank. He didn't knock. He cornered Carson. Shoved him against the wall. Threatened to beat him unconscious if the jokes continued. Carson, 64 years old and not a fighter, backed down. The jokes stopped. But Newton sued NBC for $5.2 million, claiming defamation. The lawsuit dragged through courts for a decade. In 1990, a jury awarded Newton $5.2 million. NBC appealed. In 1992, the verdict was overturned. Newton got nothing. The court ruled NBC's reporting was substantially true. But Newton had one where it mattered. He'd physically intimidated Johnny Carson. He'd silenced the king of late night through violence. Carson never publicly addressed the confrontation. His producers never forgot. Newton's ties to organized crime were later confirmed by multiple investigations. The Aladdin Hotel deal involved mob-connected figures. Newton's reputation never recovered in Hollywood. But in Vegas, he remained a star. Because in Vegas, mob connections weren't evil, they were business. Carson learned a hard lesson. Some guests don't fight with jokes. They fight with fists. Joan Rivers owes her career to Johnny Carson. In 1965, Carson booked the struggling comedian on The Tonight Show. She killed. Carson brought her back. Again and again. By 1983, Rivers was Carson's permanent guest host, the only woman to hold that title. She hosted 93 times. Carson mentored her, promoted her, made her a star. In 1986, Fox offered Rivers her own late-night show, direct competition to Carson. Rivers accepted. But she never told Carson. He found out from a Variety headline. She tried calling him. He hung up. She called again. He hung up again. Their 19-year relationship ended instantly. Carson banned Rivers from The Tonight Show for life. NBC blacklisted anyone who appeared on her Fox show. Rivers couldn't book guests. Her show failed. Cancelled after 1 year. Her husband, Edgar Rosenberg, who produced the show, committed suicide in 1987. Rivers blamed herself. Blamed Carson. Blamed Fox. Carson never spoke to her again. Not once. 19 years of friendship erased. When Rivers appeared at events, Carson left. When she sent apology letters, he returned them unopened. When mutual friends tried mediating, Carson refused. In 2014, 3 months before Rivers died, Jimmy Fallon invited her to The Tonight Show now under new management. It was her first appearance in 28 years. She cried on camera. Said, "Thank you for forgiving me." But Carson never forgave her. He died in 2005, 9 years earlier. Rivers told friends, "Losing Johnny was like losing a father. I never recovered." The betrayal revealed something essential about Carson: loyalty mattered more than talent. Rivers was brilliant, funny, groundbreaking, but she'd betrayed him. And in Carson's world, that was unforgivable. Evil. While this incident occurred after Carson's retirement, it exemplifies the banned list culture Carson established. On May 9, 1994, comedian Bobcat Goldthwait appeared on The Tonight Show with Jay Leno. Mid-interview, Goldthwait pulled out lighter fluid and a lighter. He sprayed the chair. Lit it on fire. Flames erupted. Audience screamed. Leno panicked. Goldthwait was arrested. Charged with arson. Banned for life. Fined $2,700. The incident proved Carson's instincts. Some guests are too dangerous. Too unpredictable. Too evil. Carson had been right all along. The gatekeepers matter. Without standards, late night becomes chaos. Carson didn't just expose evil guests, he set the standard for journalistic integrity in entertainment. In 1969, when he hosted Tiny Tim's wedding, 45 million viewers tuned in. It wasn't just spectacle. It was Carson proving he controlled American culture. In 1979, Carson joked about a toilet paper shortage during his monologue. The next day, Americans panic-bought toilet paper, creating actual shortages. The federal government had to issue statements calming citizens. Carson apologized on air, but the incident proved his power. He could change American behavior with a single joke. When Carson endorsed a product, sales skyrocketed. When he mocked a celebrity, their career tanked. When he exposed a fraud like Uri Geller, millions reconsidered their beliefs. His influence crossed demographics. Young viewers discovered comedy through Carson. Older viewers trusted his judgment. Politicians courted his approval. Presidents appeared on his show to seem relatable. But Carson's greatest cultural impact was this: he proved entertainment could have integrity. He refused to platform obvious frauds. He banned guests who disrespected his audience. He protected viewers from manipulation. In today's world, where misinformation spreads unchecked and platforms prioritize engagement over truth, Carson's legacy feels revolutionary. In 1991, Carson announced his retirement. He'd hosted The Tonight Show for nearly 30 years. NBC begged him to stay. He refused. His final show aired May 22, 1992. 50 million people watched. His last words on air: "I bid you a very heartfelt good night." Carson retreated from public life. He moved to Malibu. Married his fourth wife, Alexis Moss, in 1987. That marriage lasted until his death, the only one that worked. He sailed his yacht. Played tennis. Avoided Hollywood entirely. He donated $156 million to the Johnny Carson Foundation, supporting children's health and education. His estate was worth approximately $300 million at his death. He left most of it to charity. On January 23, 2005, Carson died at age 79 from emphysema. He'd been a lifelong smoker. His death was private. Quiet. Only family attended his funeral. But Carson's influence endures. Every late-night host today, Fallon, Kimmel, Colbert, follows Carson's template. The monologue, the desk, the couch, the band. Carson invented modern late-night television. And his band list? That became legend. It proved that entertainment could have standards, that hosts could say no, that platforms came with responsibility. Carson once said, "If you're not doing something with your life, then it doesn't matter how long you live." For 30 years, he did something. He made people laugh. He exposed frauds. He protected his audience. He set the standard. And he proved that some guests were just too evil for TV. Johnny Carson wasn't perfect. He drank too much, failed at marriage, struggled as a father. But when it came to his audience, those 17 million people watching every night, he was their guardian. Today's late-night hosts face similar challenges. Misinformation, manipulation, guests who lie for attention. But few have Carson's courage. Few ban guests. Few expose frauds. Few protect their audiences with the same ferocity. Maybe that's Carson's greatest legacy, proving that entertainers can be more than entertainers. They can be gatekeepers, protectors, truth-tellers. Johnny Carson died 19 years ago. But every time a host questions a guest story, every time a platform refuses to spread lies, every time entertainment chooses integrity over ratings, Carson's spirit survives. Because in the end, Johnny Carson didn't just host a TV show. He guarded the gates. He kept evil off our screens. And he never apologized for it. That's why he was the king. And that's why we'll never see another one like him.